If you think you can't learn English just because you are too old or too young, or probably you think that you need to have proper environment to be able to speak English and to learn English, or you are afraid of being ridiculous, or probably you think that learning English takes a lot of time and you are someone who does not have free time at all, so you won't be able to make time to learn English. Or probably you think that learning English is very difficult, so it is not your cup of tea. So if any of them is actually preventing you to start learning this language, then don't worry, I'm going to explain why it is all just in your head. Hey everyone, this is Samya and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today in this video I am going to explain few most common excuses which many people make for not being able to speak English. So don't worry, I am going to explain why you guys think about that and how can you get rid of them. So keep watching this video till the very end. So the first and most common excuse many people make for not being able to speak English is that probably I am too old or too young to start learning English. So I would like to start by sorting one thing out. No, you are not too old or too young to start learning English. Whether you want to learn English or any other language, you can learn them whenever you want and at whatever age you want. So it's completely up to you to decide when you have to learn that particular language. Because I have seen and I have heard it from people that they are passionate about languages, but they are afraid that probably I am too old to start learning this language. So they think that people are going to say that how can you start learning this language at this age? So well, if you think about people or if you are not thinking about yourself, then definitely you are not doing right thing. Although it's completely true that when we learn a language as a child, it is much easier than learning a language as an adult. Because when we are a child, we are surrounded by our family members, by our friends, by our relatives and neighbors who speak that language. So it's very easy for us to get the exposure of that language and adapt things easily. But when we grow up, we have to get multiple things done. So it gets little bit difficult for us to learn English or learn any other language. But yeah, by saying this, it does not mean it is not possible. So definitely you can learn English or any other language whenever you want. So let me give you an example why I am saying this. Because since I have been engaging in a conversation with people for a very long time, and in this period of time I could get connect to people who were over 50 and 60, and now they have started speaking English and they want to learn English. And it was really nice to know that they were trying to fulfill their dreams, because many of them actually mentioned that it is their dream to speak English fluently and to have conversation with people in English. And the fact is they were trying their level best to speak as much as they can. They were trying to get the exposure of that language as much as they can and to be able to speak English. So it was really nice to know. So by sharing this story, I really want you to know that whether you are a student, working or housewife, it does not matter what you do and what type of profession you have chosen. But we all must know English, because we all know that English has become a global language now, and it is one of the mandatory language for many of us to know. Because if you don't know English, then you may face many difficulties in order to survive in this world. Although they don't need to learn English now, because most of them were retired now and some of them were about to get retirement very soon, but still they have this urge to speak English and to be able to connect with others and to engage in a conversation with others in English. So by saying this, I mean definitely you can learn English whenever you want, but you need to have passion and you need to have that willpower that no matter how much effort I will have to put into this language, I am going to put into it and be able to speak that language. So the next common excuse many people make is that I am going to be ridiculous. But the good news is that it is perfectly normal. So if you're making mistakes while learning English and while speaking English, it is perfectly all right, because we are supposed to make mistakes when we are learning something. So whether we want to learn a language or any skill, Definitely we are going to make mistakes, and if you don't make mistakes, then you should consider it that you are not learning anything at all. Although it is easier said than done, that if someone is laughing at you, then just don't think about them, just focus on your journey, and if someone laughs at them, then laugh at yourself too. So this kind of suggestion we always get, but we all know that when someone points out our mistake and we let us know that, you know what, you have made a mistake, and make fun of us just because of our mistakes, we definitely feel a bit embarrassed and we don't want to try that thing again. But it does not mean we should stop our journey. I know it gets very difficult oftentimes, because I have also gone through that phase, but I know that if you don't come out of your comfort zone and just try to hide yourself just because you make mistakes, then you are never going to learn this language. I would give you only one advice, that start to speak in a safe environment. And by saying safe environment, I mean have conversation with someone and speak in front of someone whom you are very comfortable with. For example, your friend who also knows English, or your family members who can understand you and your journey, or with someone who is also learning English. So there are many apps you can use to have conversation with others and improve your English. But the fact is, there are many people who does not have anybody. So don't worry, you can practice alone. Because I am someone who have practiced English just by myself for 10 months. Literally, I had nobody and I was scared to speak with someone. Although there were many apps I could have used, but I was afraid to make mistakes. I was thinking I would be looking ridiculous to people, or I used to tremble. I mean, I opened those apps multiple times, but I did not have guts to click on that and to speak with someone. So I practiced for 10 months just by myself, in front of camera, in front of mirror, and there were many techniques I did. So if you are building safe environment for yourself, you may not feel ridiculous and you may not feel disappointed and demotivated. So yeah, this is a technique you can follow, not to feel ridiculous and not to feel that people are going to laugh at me and they are going to judge me on the basis of what mistakes I have made so far. So the next common excuse many people make is that I don't have proper environment to learn English. But in my opinion, it is just a lame excuse, because in order to speak a language, you don't necessarily have to live in an environment where that language is being spoken. Because you can create environment for yourself by adapting those things which is related to learning that language. So if you have decided to learn English, try to surround yourself with the kind of content which is in English. So if you are watching something, don't watch it in your mother tongue, try to watch it in English. If you're reading something, try to read that thing in English. So that's how you can create environment for yourself. Although it is not going to be easy, it is not an overnight process, because many times you may feel overwhelmed and you may feel like want to giving up, but you have to keep going. You have to adapt the lifestyle which revolves around English and cultivate it gradually into your daily routine. So if you do this continuously, little bit, then definitely one day you will be able to create environment for yourself in that particular language. So the next common excuse many people make is that I don't have enough time, because I am a student, I am working, I am a housewife, I have this and that. But my question to them is that, do you really think that all the people who have learned multiple languages had time? Because there are many people who speaks multiple languages, like 20 languages, 30 languages, 50 languages. It's like crazy. But do you think that they have time? Honestly, in today's world, who has the time? I mean, it's very rare to hear when someone says that I have got plenty of time, because everyone is too busy in their daily life. So the idea is not to transform your life, but rather to adapt it. So try to pick the right time of the day when you have a bit of spare time to focus on learning English, and try to make English as much a part of your daily life as you can, because that's how you are supposed to get your things done in a very busy schedule. So the idea is to simply replace what you do in your native language with the same thing in English. So there are plenty of things which you can do. For example, if you are someone who watches news in Hindi or in any other language which is your native language, so instead of watching them in your native language, try to watch them in English. If you read books in your mother tongue, so instead of reading them in your mother tongue, try to read them in English. So whatever you do in your native language, just replace it with English, and that's how you can make time for yourself to learn that language quite easily. So the next excuse many people make is that probably learning English is very difficult, so it is not my cup of tea. Honestly, I'm not going to deny the fact that learning English is difficult for many people, because I have also struggled with it so much, especially if you have never got the exposure of that language. And by saying this, I mean if you are coming from a background or a place where English is not a prior language and nobody speaks this language, so it will get difficult. And by the way, Indian languages and English don't share any kind of similarity, so many times it gets very difficult. And apart from that, there are many things, there are many reasons which play a vital role to make English a difficult language. For example, pronunciation. Sometimes pronunciation can be tricky due to its silent letters and stress patterns. Apart from that, grammar rules can also make English a difficult language, because it includes multiple things like tenses, modals, articles, nouns, and there are many things. And it will take time to master them and to understand them. In addition, lack of immersion and not having enough motivation can also make your journey a bit challenging. So in order to immerse yourself in English language completely, you have to find right resources which will make your journey a lot easier. And when it comes to having enough motivation, you have to set clear goals, and it has to be specific. So by saying this, I mean you should not think that I want to be fluent in English in just 6 months. Rather than you should have your goal something like, I want to know how to order in a cafe, or I want to know how to introduce myself. And definitely you will meet your expectation very soon. So it will motivate you all the time to study English and to know more about it. So here are most common excuse many people make for not being able to speak in English. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful and interesting. So please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and I will see you very soon. Bye.